I can't find the words to tell you how proud I am to have you on that boat.
Thank you.
For a yacht, a shipyard as ours, is a big responsibility to work on somebody else's project. I know that we created this project together, but then again, it's a big thing to follow somebody else's drawing and then finally get them on water. Before we start the talk, now I have an impression. I remember when our creative agency did the first photo shoot for the boat, and I was like, man, why we spend so money for photo shooting when these photos look exactly like the renders? And I'm really glad.
Point.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you created a design that is absolutely possible to be built, and that we managed to follow your designs as they should have been created. But before we start with the boat, I just want to ask you, what is the first memory of yours, of us? How do you remember our first encounter, and how do you remember this whole story, how it started?
Actually, we're sitting here in Cannes on the boat show, on the world premiere, nominated for awards.
True.
And we met here in Cannes for a first meeting, as far as I remember. And it was not clear for us where this story gonna bring us, this journey. And it was a journey. I don't know if you remember that we started with 46 foot.
Clearly.
The idea was a combination of a sailing boat and a motorboat.
Yep.
And we ended up with, I think, an iconic design for a pure, real motor yacht.
Yeah, and this is why we're proud of it.
Absolutely, I'm very proud. And you used the term responsibility, where also our position is responsibility with the design and your invest of time, of course, of money, of funds, in creating molds, in tools, in your shipyard, which is tremendous. I haven't seen that very often before, and at that stage, congrats for this one. It's a really big move. And finally, after a couple of years, we are there.
But I remember one of my first encounters with you was in your office. So I remember flying from Bulgaria to Hamburg, finding your office in downtown of Hamburg, which is a beautiful place for doing this kind of business. We went in your office in one big round table and we started discussing what we want to do. Honestly, for me, these were one of the first encounters with the industry, with serious talks about designs, about marketing, about what the market needs at the moment. And I think that then we felt for the first time confident that we can have a partner that we can work with, because we had this chemistry back then, and that we can create something together and bring it on the market. We all know how much time it took. It took us 5 years to develop all the infrastructure, all the moldings, all the toolings to get this boat on the market, but we are super confident now that we can deliver. But it was, I remember it was very interesting meeting, and as you said, we started from the 46. We had this brilliant idea of having the hybrid, as you said, hybrid model. But I'm super glad that we arrived on a point where power catamarans are growing. People realizing the benefits of power catamarans, and we can proudly say, after so much development, that we are on the right track.
This was your vision. Sorry to interrupt you. This was exactly your vision. The point was, the difficulty in any design project is to understand the client. So you meet for the second time, you talk, but do you really understand the entire story? No, you can't, you don't, because you try to understand what is the goal, where are they going, what do they want to achieve. And it was your vision that you focused on the power cat, that you wanted to go into a direction where now the market is growing, is strong. And for us, of course, we try to understand best, read between the lines. But at the first meeting, at the first, let's say, negotiations about the project, you can't know that. Yeah. So it's a balance. It's an interaction between the two parties. And end of the day, I can say we did well. We went the same direction. And we end up in a wonderful result of space usage, of a concept which offers really new opportunities.
Yeah. I have said so many times for these 5 years that we are a pure power-bred brand, that I can't imagine how real and how true that is today, and how beneficial it is that I have repeated it so much, and that now we really managed to achieve the comfort in that boat. In the meantime, the performance.
Maybe it was not your role or your game, but you developed the DNA, and creating this DNA, these factors around that design, is the most important thing. Most of the times, clients come along, they don't have the DNA. We need to develop them. Best case, you have a client who is a listener and the speaker, you develop it together.
Yeah.
And this we manage. So we can be happy about it.
Yeah, because now we have the beamiest boat in the class. So we have 8.4 meters beam. That's the widest boat in the class. And this was our idea back then. Like, we see there were not so many power models back then in 2020, but we didn't understand why people were not utilizing that.
Absolutely.
And finally we got to that the perfect ratio of length and width, which I can say we've been through a few storms, we've been through some very long delivery. This boat handles amazingly. Like, one of the storms, just a short story, one of the storms that we've been in, we've got all the people sleeping in the cabins, and me and the captain are on the flybridge. Gigantic storm, 30 knots of wind, horizontal rain, you're staying and needles are going into your face, and we have to moor the boat. It's a catamaran. Big wind area, so we have to ask for some help. I go into the cabins, I wake up the people, they're dead asleep. I try to wake them up. They go into the saloon and they're like, "Why do you wake us up? Everything seems perfectly." And I said, no. And he starts to get out on short sleeve, and I said, no, I'm with 3 jackets, 2 pants, take one of mine. We have just 10 minutes of mooring, take it and go out. The moment that we go out, the wind takes his hair, and he realizes how bad the weather is outside. So that practical situation showed me how people inside of the saloon and inside of the cabins, they feel so safe and so calm, while outside there's strong wind and rain and storm and waves. So
Proof of concept,
which I was as a newcomer, as first build, I was very worried, because we see many times that even proven brands, there are mistakes happening. It's normal, development stages. You have designers doing boats. You have then the shipyard's responsibility to do them well. But I'm super happy that you managed first to calculate the boat so well, and that we managed to keep all the theoretical numbers right. We got the weight right. We got the max speed better, and I think that we can improve it even more. But I'm really happy.
You followed the plan, and
we followed the plan, really.
That's not an easy thing, because you need to stick to circumstances which are sometimes a challenge, and it's not given that all the results will work like this. End of the day, this goes with all the, let's say, technical parameters you mentioned, but it also goes with the space concept, with the functionality, how you feel and understand the room, the space offered on the boat. Many people go down in your owner's cabin downstairs and are so impressed about the offered space there and that concept. Well, how did we do it? Simple. The space you asked in the beginning, you want a width of 8.4, the beamy catamaran. Yeah. There we go. So follow the plan. That's the most important.
Sometimes in your life you have certain highlight moments that you would never forget. One of the things that happened now in Cannes, when we first had you on the boat, was I think that you said, "Man, I really wanted to come to the boat, go into master cabin, spread my hands and make a 360.
I danced in the cabin, and this tells the entire story.
Yeah.
That's a story which you can only tell usually on a 65 or 70 foot boat. Welcome to a 50. Yeah. And everyone on the boat which I could show around was asking, where are we? Is it 55, 58? Where are we?
Always when I take people around, at least a couple of times they ask me, what was the length?
Yeah. So the concept.
Okay, but shall we speak about the DNA of the boat then? What was the thought process behind the boat inside of your design studio? And then I'll speak for myself, what I love the boat, how do we sell it? Also, we spoke a lot about how this boat is going to be positioned on the market. You worked a lot on that. So you as a design studio also is responsible. And this is what I love in your studio, is that you don't just produce a design and a model just because we want something, but just also because you see it through the lens of the market from your experience. So brief me.
That's very easy. No, it isn't. If it would be easy, everyone would do it. The DNA of the boat is the utilization of the space in the best design we can create and deliver, right? And what we try to do is to harmonize the inside and the outside. This was the core part of the design, to combine these two areas, the inside and the outside. It's not that easy. On a lot of boats, when you see ergonomics and space, you can easily understand there's a division from the outside to the inside. You walk through a small door and you know inside, outside, right? And here, space is open. It appears open. And this goes even to materials, to ergonomics. And you fully followed our suggestions of the material combinations, of the light concept. Everything is well set up. So this is mostly the DNA of the boat, that the combination of inside outside works well.
Yeah, yeah.
The rest, technical parameters, yes, of course, we've talked about it. Low fuel consumption, efficiency, prepared for a hybrid propulsion. This all can come and will come, pretty sure. But the basic is set.
But what are the benefits that you get from the 8.4 meter beam, for example? What is your comment? And also we see that we have a pretty large saloon. We sacrificed a little bit from the aft cockpit. I see lots of comments about it, but personally, me, I love it. There are so many people that love that idea, but it's a controversial way of doing a catamaran nowadays.
You asked about the experience of industry and the market. Of course, developing a new design means as well to be different, to be better. We all want to be better in the competition, right? That's why we are doing it. And you want to sell, you need to sell boats. So if you do it the same as the others, then you don't develop and show anything new. Exactly. That's not working. So yes, we sacrificed space in the stern of the boat, but we gained something else.
Yeah.
We gained something new, an added value. And the combination of all together makes the deal.
Yeah, and I see that this feature is very much liked by the private clients. Nowadays, after COVID, after all the geopolitical things that are happening, people realize that working remotely is not so hard, and having an escape plan is also not such a bad idea. And Absolutely. This boat has all the features and possibilities for you to live in it. So when we talk to clients, they notice that the live aboard experience for us was very important when we were developing that model. You have the large saloon with a seating area, with a sofa for 10 to 12 people. You have the fully equipped galley with a double door fridge, dishwasher, oven, induction cooktop, large sink. So you have all the things that you would not miss
living on board.
Living on board. Yeah. So not just having that boat for a week, but have spent a month, 2, 3. I have some people even who said to me that, for example, they have a house in Menorca. They just want to give it out to rent for Airbnb and then live on the boat in the marina and go around in the other bays instead of around and then come back to Menorca. So people realizing that living on the boat comfortably is something that they can enjoy a lot. And nowadays is very much possible. With technologies like Starlink, you can work from home. We can specify a place for them specifically for their profession to work to have their own office. So,
but don't forget one thing: living on board for a longer time. Why should people sacrifice the standard they have at home on the boat, where they spend a lot of money? To be honest, it's always a lot of money if you go into boating. Yeah. And then you need to utilize the space. You have to have the functionality. You have to have the big fridge. You need to switch on the oven whenever you want. Yeah. These are things which should be considered as a given nowadays. And this is here with the galley you have, the space in the saloon with the table. And when you go downstairs in the owner's cabin, the space,
And this is something I always tell to our PRs and creative agencies: stay away from the term house, home, because unfortunately, I remember back in the days in 2020 that people were still referring to catamarans as RVs, as something bulky, heavy, not performing. So generally a thing that would definitely not be preferred by powerboaters. But nowadays, with this model out in the wild, other competition also doing steps towards that direction, we see that we have the home comfort, but then again, the boat is not heavy. You've utilized lightweight materials for the furniture, for the construction, for the hull, deck, and all the composites, and you still have the performance. With this boat, with the smaller engines that we have, which are 2x 320 horsepower, which have a maximum speed of 17 knots. With the larger ones, with this very well designed hull, we can achieve up to 23 knots. And even though that the 23 knots is theoretical because we haven't still installed the bigger engines, I know that we can achieve it because we've achieved already the numbers.
It's prepared.
It's prepared. It's prepared. And I'm glad that we can have a home, as our tagline says, your shell of comfort, but still being a performance boat. And I had so many people telling me that this boat has a pure power boat DNA. You look at it from the outside and you see the language of a power boat, which I think that we can easily attract monohull power boaters. And actually, just behind our back are now potential clients that came from other monohull, very famous monohull brands. They just visited the boats, they came to our stand, and they said, we feel very nice here. There was always something that we didn't like in the other boats, but we feel very nice in this catamaran. So there is an obvious, clear path of the clients from motorboats, monohulls, to power boats in catamaran segment. And I think that this boat can do that shift very, very easily without sacrificing anything from the flashy aspect of having a boat. Because let's not forget, yes, it's nice to have a comfortable boat, but everybody wants to put it in the marina and receive some compliments. And with that boat, you can definitely receive some compliments.
Definitely, I agree.
Okay, and there are some other features. Actually, this front cockpit was not designed in the beginning like that.
Exactly.
Can you tell us about a bit more? Just before starting the molds, we decided to change the front cockpit. Can you tell us a bit more about this design change?
Typical situation. We think everything's done right, develop the thing, deliver the thing, and then the client comes back and asks for a change. Why does the client want to change? Of course, you got your feedback from dealers, from clients. So you did your research, you did your homework, and that's a very important interaction. Of course, we as a design studio, we are not 24/7 out in the market. We don't speak to clients all the day. So we need to have your reflection. We need to have your experience. It's very important. We need to rely on that. And you came back and said, look, this front door option, we have, in the concept phase, we have thought about it, but not done. You came back and you forced us to do so, which was a brilliant decision. So this is definitely on your side. Thanks, therefore. And it is an added value.
Yeah, but I'm happy that you accepted it because you can always say, man, this is not going to work, this is not a good idea.
Why should we deny it?
But you're right, we got this feedback from the clients together with their dealer, and they said, why don't we have a front cockpit? Why don't we have this extra space with the sunbeds, with the front entrance? And also we had a conversation with our captain while we were doing the delivery. And he said, man, if we didn't have that front door, I was going to stay all the time inside and I had to go around all the way from the back. Now I'm staying with you, having the chat, having something to drink, and we can enjoy the time. And especially when it's a private boat, and when the captain is the owner, he can spend his time outside when people were, that's why people were doing boating, to stay outside. And in the same time monitor the track portal, the radars and everything else.
Well, the market is creating the demand.
Yes,
and
exactly.
You need to listen to the market. And the market are the boaters, the users. They have experience. Not everyone is experienced. Not everyone is bringing up the most brilliant idea. We know that. But on the other hand side, there is experience created out there on the water. You're out there sailing boats. We do as well. So we learn from that. And not to forget about your learnings, bring it to the project, convert it into reasonable and added solutions. That's important.
One thing that I want to add while we're talking about the connection with the clients, I had a few journalists now in the press co ask me how much customization you can offer to that boat. And you mentioned how we followed all your plans and all your ideas about the interior, exterior, and so on. I haven't had a client who wanted, and we know that clients always want to change, they want to customize and so on. I haven't had a client who wanted to change anything in the layout. They wanted to change colors and so on, but this layout inside in the interior is so well optimized, is so well thought out.
Question yourself, why is a client willing to customize?
Because they don't feel comfortable.
He's not satisfied.
Yeah, he's not satisfied.
There we are.
They come in and I see the spark in their eyes. They first spark in their eyes at the back when they see the aft cockpit and the beam from the aft, and they're like, wow, I want to go in. The second time that I see the spark in their eyes is when they go into the saloon and they cannot imagine that they're on a 50-feet boat. They just want to start exploring. They sit on the couch, they come in front, they go everywhere. And I haven't had a comment, do you think it's possible to move that here, to move that there? And being here in Cannes, what I loved about this experience is that I started appreciating things that I didn't appreciate so much previously. And one of the things is the sofa in the master cabin. A few clients already, and I really couldn't believe what they were saying, and we stayed with them discussing specifications, stuff like that, staying on the sofa in the master cabin, and they were saying, man, that's the first sofa in the master cabin that is actually usable, comfortable, sofa. And an actual sofa that you can use. Yeah. Most of the sofas in the master cabins are there because you need to have a sofa in the master cabin.
Well, you can put your bags there.
Yeah, you can put exactly. It's a clothing sofa. Yeah. But we stayed there, and they were saying, I can imagine myself staying here, watching the football match, playing PlayStation, or just discussing something. Yeah. And we were there discussing the specifications for half an hour, and they didn't even notice that we are in the master cabin in the sofa, and they really enjoyed that. So since then, I started appreciating this space there, and I started showing it to the people. The more I show it to the people, the more they're like, yes, exactly. I noticed that, and this is really, really, really comfortable.
There's a principle you need to follow in the design. The utilization of the room or a room becomes a room by its utilization. That's how you describe it. So if you have a room with a bed and a sofa, and both are not well working, like the bed is too short and the sofa doesn't work, then it's not a cozy bedroom. Then it's whatever you want to describe it. So functionality is very important. This describes and defines the room itself. Yeah. There are more things, of course. The view, the colors, the color setup of it itself, but you have to have a use for the room. And it's only useful for us as humans when we feel comfortable. It's an emotional thing.
And I think that this is defining the new luxury. And the new luxury is not about flashy materials, not about having like all Alcantara, mahogany, expensive woods and so on. It's about comfort. It's about feel like you're at home. It's about space. It's about really feeling free and uncluttered in the space that we've created. What if you have all the Alcantara and all the expensive materials?
You can't use it.
And you are cramped in some caves. Absolutely. And you just shut the door, and all the space you have is just to lie on the bed and then go out. So many people ask me, Kaloyan, you have enough space, let's make a 5th cabin, let's make a 6th cabin. And I'm like, yes, we have the space, but no, I'm not gonna do it. We have 3 cabin version for owners and 4 cabin version for charter. If you want to have a charter version, then you need to have a luxurious charter, because people want space. They want to have space to breathe. And no, I'm not going to put a 5th cabin.
And the captain.
And the captain.
With the captain's cabin. Yeah. With a well done captain's cabin.
Yeah.
Bathroom, everything's there. So
super spacious. Everybody's super impressed by the spaciousness of the front cabin. And I had some Bulgarian clients who they said that they don't want a skipper, they don't want the captain. But when the wife saw the cabin, she said the kids will want to sleep there. Yeah. And if you see a regular captain's cabin, they would not want to sleep there for sure.
What's the best benefit on a boat? I can tell you when I'm gonna get rid of the kids. Think of it.
I've been coming to Cannes for 8 years now. I'm super glad that we're here for the first year. And honestly, now the more that I'm getting into yachting and what we are doing, I can't believe the reasons why would you buy a motor monohull when you have such good catamarans. Give me your vision about future of yachting and what is the role of power catamarans there?
Catamarans at all have a big role as the living on water thing is growing. The demand having comfort, safety, space all together combined, and there a multi-hull has its benefits. There's nothing to explain about. It's a simple rule, and I guess everyone who has used the first or second time a catamaran has learned it by itself. Just being on the water, staying there, be relaxed without restrictions. You have space left and right. You can walk around. You can leave your things there. I mean, we are all human beings. When we are out there in the water, we enjoy the day on the water. We are lazy. We relax in the sun. So this is what you do on a boat. That's why we are using boats. Okay, other people use boats to circumnavigate, but that's a different story. That's fine. So there's nothing more to say than the catamaran is delivering it. The monohull is more restricted. So that's the story.
And now the more brands are presenting new models, improving design, aesthetics and comfort, I'm really sure that power catamarans will redefine our connection with the ocean and how we're boating.
Definitely. I mean, you see the move from, in the past there was no dedicated power catamaran design. It has been, let's call it sailing catamarans, not perform sailing, but sailing catamarans, which had been converted into a motor power catamaran use.
That was a big problem in the industry.
A challenge in the industry.
Challenge.
And now we are there that we have grown, developed power catamarans. That's the next stage, definitely.
I'm really proud that we're part of that shift.
I think we are one of the conquerors of the market.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for this conversation. It was really interesting.
Thank you for having me here.
I'm super happy that we did the boat and that we managed to have this conversation here in Cannes, presenting the boat in front of the world.
Thank you, Kaloyan. Great job. Thank you.